Welcome to Mind Over Matter, where we feature young Jamaicans who are shooting for the stars. His story is one of inspiration to anyone facing adversity. Growing up in poverty in the inner city of Tower Hill, he has faced numerous challenges that could have hindered his ability to succeed in school. God. But through hard work and determination, he has proven that you can achieve anything you put your mind to. He's 21 years old, a youth advocate, climate activist, and youth parliamentarian. He recently graduated from the University of the West Indies with a bachelor's degree in public policy and management with a minor in international relations. He's presently a master's student at the University of the West Indies. He shares his story of resilience and determination. My guest is Jahmel Brown. Welcome to Mind Over Matter, Jahmel.
Happy to be here today.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure having you.
Yes, it is. I'm really excited to be here today on this wonderful platform that has been highlighting youth in Jamaica.
Thank you, man. Jahmel, your journey has been a difficult one, although you have achieved so much. You're from the inner city called Tower Hill. Tell us about Tower Hill, what it's like growing up there, because we want to understand, the extent and the magnitude of what you have achieved. So tell me a little about Tower Hill.
Thank you for that question. Growing up in Tower Hill has been a difficult one for me because my family, we come from a low socioeconomic background where it's difficult for my mom, my aunt. My aunt is a second parent in one, like my father and my mom, and my father is also there as well. For them all to be there, and it's still a challenging experience. I would say it has been a difficult experience for me growing up in Tower Hill because most days my parents couldn't afford food or something to eat, and same with my aunt who tends to chip in from time to time. And at the same time, they wash for a living. My mom and my aunt wash people's clothes for a living, and my father is he pushes car downtown. So it's going to be hectic from day to day experiences. It's not a fixed job, or it's not a job in the office that have a fixed salary. So it's going to be difficult for me, and not for me, but for my brothers who also have to go to school, who also have to eat, and who also have to wear clothes. So it has been a difficult experience for me growing up in that community, but it has been a bittersweet one because it's not always doom and gloom. So it's something that I've learned to accept and move forward with, because it has showed me that even if you come from the darkest experiences, you can still move forward and experience that positiveness in life and in society.
Mm-hmm. And your story of resilience, Jahmel, started out early because you were telling me about your GSAT exam that you almost couldn't do because you broke your hand. Tell us about that story and how you were able to actually do the exam.
For me, that incident was a very difficult one for me, given that my right hand was broken, where it was the hand that I used to do my exams, to do homework and do things that was needed in school. No, it shifted a paradigm in my life where I have to now use my left hand to know right for my classwork, homework, and also to prepare myself to do GSAT, because I didn't want to sit out a year.
So you had to learn to write with your left hand.
Yes, I did.
It had to
and
be
it was
legible.
very difficult. It was very difficult. Difficult for me because I didn't come from an environment that was privileged. I came from an environment where we didn't have anything. So it's like I have to figure this out or become nothing in society, because society is not easy, and persons like us where we have looked and like, oh, I'm going to give you a blind. Society does not work like that. You have to figure it out and you have to work towards what you want in life, and sometimes that is very difficult for me and in my background, basically.
So you did the exam, Jahmel. You did the exam and you passed for Tarrant School.
Traditional high school.
It's not a traditional high school, right? How did you feel now when you got those results and see that you passed for Tarrant? Because you had high hopes of a traditional high school.
Yes, I would have felt good. At the moment, I felt good. I'm not going to lie, I felt good because, as I said, I didn't have a chance to do the exam, given my right hand was broken, and I have to use my left hand to sit the exams. But at the same time, I felt bad because your family have expectations, the community have expectations because they tend to compare you with other students like for example, they would ask me in my community, which school you pass for? Because when it comes out and that everyone is talking and they're going to compare you and say, your friend mom's friend down the road is doing better than you. She went to this school or he went to this school. So they tend to compare you and to know that you didn't go to a traditional high school. Persons are like, oh, your chances are up because society viewed you in a way that if you don't go to traditional high school and if you don't live an acceptable life, you're not going to be anything in life. And completely takes away the narrative that you can do anything regardless of the environment you are put in.
Yes,
So I would say,
because you went to Tarrant and you did exceptionally well at Tarrant,
yes, I did.
despite it not being a traditional high school. But tell us about some of the achievements that you had there.
So when I first started off at Tarrant, it was very difficult for me because at first I didn't know if I was going to be able to go to Tarrant because my parents didn't have any money as well to put me in. It wasn't until the last minute that my father got some money to send me to high school and then buy up the books, the uniform and everything that I needed in that moment. And even then it was difficult because onwards from there, and even in that moment, I have to wear one uniform, one white shirt, one khaki pants, and one shoes and a bag to go to school from every year is at one
For the
suit
entire year.
for the entire year. And white shirt don't last you for a very long period if it's the same white shirt for a very long sustainable period. So I
Exactly.
have to use that one white shirt through the academic year and the next year I will get another white shirt. And sometimes I would try to see if I can save that white shirt from the previous year to have two white shirts in the next year. So it has been a difficult experience for me growing up to not be able to have enough and went to that school. I learned a lot from that school, so it wasn't as bad as I hoped in the beginning. Where persons will say you're not going to traditional high school, you're going to end up like this.
But Jamel, you're a teenager. You're at a
Yeah.
school now where everybody have the latest this and the latest that. And you only have one suit of clothes for the entire year. Did that affect your self-esteem? Did you feel any way about that, or it didn't matter?
Yeah, it did because at first I did have friends who I thought were my friends at first who would sometimes say to me in a funny tone, like when persons will laugh and when a serious issue with you, will make it like a joke and say, did you bathe this morning? Because I didn't have the deodorant that they would have because my family didn't really have the money to support me with those things. Did you wash your uniform? Because as I said, there are one uniform for the entire year. So even moments when my shoes I would in this particular grade, it was grade 9. I did have these shoes, and rain fall consistently in that year. I don't know why, and that shoes went through something,
A rough
and then
time.
it started to strip, and it started calling me strip me. I was like, what? Stripping, and at the same time they used to have one for me as well. Where sometimes my bag each year my bag is to pop. No matter when I used to sew it back up or anything, it used to be a cheap bag that I used to get every year, and that bag used to pop and used to it was a very difficult, embarrassing, and complicated time in my life, but I have to embrace it all and move forward because life is a journey. And as I said, bringing it right back to the first question, the previous question, when you asked me what were the accomplishments, I started out explaining the journey before I went into that because I felt like journey was important. The accomplishments that I got was up to sixth form. because I got first place prior to sixth form in 11th grade, but my real work began in sixth form when I got top K performer in entrepreneurship in the entire sixth form for entrepreneurship unit 1, and then moving on to upper six, I got top K performer and top entrepreneurship again. So top entrepreneurship for 2 years, then a top MOB, and I also did well in different areas. And that's in that moment, it says to me that you overcame your situation. Because before I knew I was brilliant, I knew I could do the work, but it was difficult for me to do the work on most days. So sometimes I just felt like, no, it shouldn't have to be this hard, complicated, and difficult for me as a young man trying to elevate myself out of a difficult situation in society.
You also got involved in advocacy at Tarrant High School. Was that where that started?
I was involved at the different clubs, 4-H club, and also in sixth form association. And also outside of that, I was a part of this organization called Youth for Sustainable Development, and also Sustainable Development and Solutions Network, where I was the only high school student at UWI at that time. Going to UWI, I wasn't a university student at the time. I was in upper six, going to UWI for that club, and it was really great. But my work in advocacy didn't really start then. It was like a trial to see if I really love this. My real work started in advocacy was in the COVID era, when I had to leave university in second semester to go online. I was like, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do to impact others like you who are in a difficult situation? So I started with student leadership on campus and worked my way up.
So after you finished Tarrant now, you had dreams of attending university.
So I wanted to be the first in my family to go and also use this as a way to impact future generations. I can also impact my community and move up, have that change, break the cycle, be the first. Even if I'm not seeing it, I want to show others that it can be done, because our community is known about you went to 10 or 11 when you didn't drop out. Persons went to 6th form, but not a lot of persons went to compared to the majority that didn't go. So I was like, what can be done to change this? What can be done to give our people or persons in the community a second chance of becoming great? So it wasn't really about me, it was really about continuing something that needed to be changed or fixed in my view.
So where did the funds come from though, Jahmel? Tell me about that. You got a scholarship. How did that work out?
Yes, the funds. I have a story behind that fund, behind those funds, but I was going to university orientation for like university orientation will kick off like 2 or 1 week. I was going for a very long time, going to different orientations, going without bus fare and still find my way to go there and leave there and go back home and to say, yes, I really wanted to go to orientation. Yes, I really wanted to do this. I even find the money to work at as a bag attendant at Sunset Bookstore downtown.
Okay, that was a holiday job?
Yes, it was a summer job. To find that money, to really find that money, like, we are going to get that fund to pay that commitment fee of $22, because at the time my parents was so busy with my brothers who also had to go to school. And at the same time, I had to find that money. I think later in the evening, I would say afternoon, but later in the evening, God answered my prayers. I was like, what? 2 scholarships coming one time. I was like, what? Semester is paid for. I need semester is paid for. I don't need to figure out this semester about the next semester.
Yes.
And I went and I continued. And imagine starting with nothing and then continue in the faith that God is going to provide, and God did provide for me. And in the midst of doing that, I also saw this amazing opportunity that the government was doing, Ministry of Education and Youth, Ministry of Education and Youth, to be specific. They were doing this great program at the time where you could do it through the government, and they would pay for a diploma for you, diploma in paralegal studies. I was like, this is going to contribute to my degree, so why not? I don't want to work in law necessarily. I want to create law. I want to be the one that enforce, not really enforce, but implement those laws that are going to be enforced in society. I was like, this is a great opportunity for me. It's like, it's going to call upon different things that is also going to be in my degree. So I started UWI first and then also went on to that. I was like juggling my diploma and degree at the same time. I got my diploma first and then I continued and got my degree. I didn't have to do an extra year. I didn't have to go over my limit. I went and did everything in 3 years. I would say 3 years exactly because I did 3 years to the degree and like a 1 year for the diploma. So it's like in a course of 3 years. And I figured it out and it was great. And it's like God was blessing me.
But Jahmel, before you jump over all of that, tell me what were some of the challenges that you faced while there? Because you must have gone through a lot.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I would talk about first semester, first year, university experience, where I didn't have any money for majority of the time. And sometimes when I even have money, my mom would give me like $200. And at that time, I was also looking for employment, but it was kind of difficult for me because I kept getting denied and I had to go to school one way or the other. So normally, I would just walk from my house to Tree, and everyone know that Tree is a very long distance, but I had to do it. I had to put away my pride and all these things in my head.
But Jahmel, even going to university, you have to have clothes. Just you need the basic clothes to go up there. So how did that work out? Where you get all of that?
At that time, I didn't have much clothes. I was not kidding you because every dollar that I had in my life, I always try to put it towards education. I always try to figure out a way to get to school or to figure it out because before in high school, before I go into the closing in university, I didn't have food. And my guidance counselor, I spoke with him and he was very understanding, Mr. Simpson, and he helped me out through that period of, and he spoke with the school as well and helped me out through that difficult period of my life. I was like, my school was my community, the office at Tarrant High School, the vice principal, Mr. Dennis, Mrs. Gordon, Mrs. Finley, different persons at Tarrant High School guided me and pushed me towards the right direction. Even Mrs. Lloyd, I'm segueing into the clothes now. Mrs. Lloyd, who has always been there as a supportive teacher, would have known. I would have explained to her and said I didn't have any clothes. I was still telling she that she was very intrigued by I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue on to university because she would have known my story. She's one of those great teachers, and she was like, what do you mean you don't have any clothes? I was like, yes, I don't have any clothes, but I have to figure it out. And she was like, no, I'm not going to have this. I didn't know at the time that I was going to get that. I was like, but she started me or she gave me some clothes to go to university. At that time, I was really appreciative of it. I was really appreciative of that support, that help that she gave to me as a teacher. She didn't shun me. She didn't make me feel ashamed of my situation, but she supported me and pushed me forward. She's one of those persons who have been a part of my story, Mrs. Lloyd. And then continuing on to university, wearing those clothes in first year. I was like really grateful for it because I didn't have the money before to go to school most days, and then to not have any clothes on top of that was difficult, but she helped me through that difficult time. And then other teachers and other lecturers from UWI would have helped and guided me throughout the process, and I'm really grateful for all of that.
So Jahmel, you've always had somebody there who was helping you or supporting you through the whole journey.
Yes. I would say from sixth form going up. Everything before was mostly, would say all me, what was 90% me before. But going up from sixth form to university, it has always been somebody. I look up here and there, pushing me towards a direction, but basic, primary, and high school, prior to sixth form, was Jahmel Brown. You have to figure this out. Are you going to get? Are you going to get? Are you going to not get what you want in life? Or you're not going to figure it out? You have to figure it out right now. And I did. And then after that, no, God said, you did the journey, you did the leg.
Yes.
Give somebody to give you some support. And before that, I think one of my biggest hurdles was that I didn't share my story. You will know, you will see and you know in your heart like assumptions that I'm struggling, but I will never tell you that I'm struggling. And that changed my whole perspective because before I didn't share my story. I didn't want persons in my business. And even when I was talking to my guidance counselor prior to all of that, before reaching sixth form, he also it was a difficult time for me to open up about all of that to him because I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want to have that feeling of pity. I didn't want persons to pity me or feel sorry for me or give me certain advantages. But I want to earn that. I want to go into spaces and say, oh, Jahmel earned this. Jahmel didn't get this because Jahmel was.
But Jahmel, here comes the pandemic now. Everything is thrown out of whack. You're at home. Tell me about that because you're at home in a Tower Hill. A whole heap of nice, whole heap of musical play. Tell me how you went through all of that studying.
Oh my Lord, I just want to say that, oh my Lord, because that was very difficult for me because noise, ghetto dances, persons going off, baby in the background like you can hear right now. Relatives making a lot of noise, like their speakers, when you tell him not to do it. Like for a minute, I would say stop the noise for a minute in a very respectable tone and very respectable manner. And in the next 1 minute, not even 5 minutes, you hear them with the same noise, like they have this quick shot memory span or something. And it's not just them, it's like people in the community as well. So it was difficult for me. And then I have a next door neighbor who would love to sing to the Lord. And she was singing like every day Sunday. I was like, no, I can't have my presentation, my tutorial presentation, you're singing in the background. I can't have my lectures and I can't even participate most of the time. So in the pandemic, it was very difficult for me to participate like before because before I was very in the class, very active in class. So that shift in the pandemic because I couldn't be active as I used to because sometimes there tends to be expletives or tends to be noise that cannot be explained. And if like for I'm going to recall on this moment. It was a presentation, tutorial presentation in one of my favorite class for one of my favorite lectures. Rain was falling and the rain was making a lot of noise. And then in the middle of that, someone says the F word, expletive, in the presentation. I have to continue the presentation like nothing did happen. And then afterwards, I just emailed the teacher and said, I'm so sorry about that. But I had to do it. I had to do what I had to do in that moment. I could not stop. I could not stop and say sorry. I just act like nothing didn't happen in that moment and just continued. And it was a very difficult period for me. And in the pandemic, I wasn't really challenged. Like I used to be challenged, like by education or intellectual being, because I was in an environment that didn't give me the energy to be intellectual. Didn't give me a competitive drive. Didn't give me some even remember I was telling you the story that I didn't have a desk and a chair and I have to use my drum set from Paris to set up like a desk and a chair. Even that was difficult for me as a young man in the garrison trying to make a way out and to impact others while my life is so completely messed up. And in that moment, while I was impacting over 2,000 university students with over 5,000 opportunities shared by both me and my opportunity coordinator, Desan Grant, and also all about scholarships, where I was a part of your team with Kenisha, Henry, Delmar, Squire, and also Amani. It was very difficult for me, but I had to share opportunities, like thousands of opportunities to over several youths, high school students, university students, everyone did get jobs, scholarships, internships, volunteer work, competitions. I had to put aside me and everything I stood for in that moment. It wasn't bad. That to put aside me and everything I stood for in a difficult moment where, like some person will have this stood for mentality, like I'm not going to work on that stress, I'm not going to work on these pressing circumstances. I couldn't say that to myself. I like every time when life is beating me down, I always say to God, why am I always asking myself and asking life itself for more, for always more in a difficult, pressing situation. But in that moment, I realized I did have a depression for quite a while in second semester, second year when I wanted to quit UWI and just go work downtown, push out like my father. Because I couldn't bother anymore. I just couldn't bother because it was difficult.
But you even
Really
mentioned,
difficult.
Jahmel, what was remarkable that you told me was that during the pandemic, you didn't even have a laptop, you were using your phone. No, that is so incredible. Tell me about that. How you manage using a phone to do all of these things that you had to do?
It started with using what you have to continue going to university. Because you always hear persons when you don't have certain things, use what you have. And yes, I get it. It's nice and it's great sometimes to use what you have, but using what you have is sometimes not enough. And for me, it was not enough in the pandemic because before the pandemic, I had a chance to go to the library. Then the pandemic hit. I was like, are you going to do your work? Are you going to continue school? Are you going to do your schoolwork? Are you going to do classes? And you don't have a laptop. And you don't even have a stable internet connection because sometimes you have to sit up in the bed to get connection. So, are you going to do all of these things? I was like, I don't know. Let's figure it out. And I went and I used my Tree phone at the time, digital phone, to do classes. I went to my first online class on BBC. It's a platform that we had to use during the pandemic. And then after that, I did have presentations. I have to use my I have to use Office on my phone to do those presentations. It was very difficult for me. And at the time, I reached out to somebody to get a tablet because you did introduce a tablet. But every time, even though I got a tablet, I end up getting late in the semester. So at the early point in the semester, I have to do presentations or schoolwork, I have to use my phone. I have to use my phone to do everything. And even then when I get the tablet, I don't want to sound ungrateful because I'm not ungrateful to you, but that tablet was also frustrating in the least to say that I had to use that tablet and at the same time it frees a lot on me. A lot on me. And it was really difficult for me as a student to know that I had to use a tablet that freezes a lot. But it was able to get some of my work done at the time and I was grateful for that. But it was difficult for me in the pandemic. Difficult more than ever.
But Jahmel, did this frustration, you did ever feel like, boy, you just can't bother? You're not just throwing in the towel?
Yes, it even went back to our previous conversation about that depression, that depressive mood, that wanting to give up in second semester. And I was going to do it. I was going to take that leave of absence. I even have friends who went on to do great things, like exceptional things in Jamaica. It inspired me and said, no, Jahmel, you cannot quit, you cannot take that leave of absence, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. I even mentors, like I remember this particular mentor, she's really great. She's one of my biggest mentor. She is Sabrina Said, and she would have helped me along the journey. I have to figure out everything. I would have to figure it out, and she would have guided me through it. She would have given me the information, like like when that mentor will give you the part in life, and say this is the part, and this is all you have to take that part as because they would have already experienced it before you as a mentor, and I would have gotten that mentorship from her as a person. And then I didn't have to figure out the work. I have to figure out the work by myself doing it. But as a mentor would guide you as to what part to take, or you can study better, or you can do the work better, what avenues you should take as a student. And I would have done all of that. But it was difficult not having that laptop it affected me, because I was going to say it affected the accident, but it affected me as an individual, the least. So it affected me a lot.
You were given the Premier Award for Leadership for the category of male. Tell me a little about this award.
So the Premier Award is given to the most outstanding and most impactful students on campus. And I would have to compete with a lot of persons. I didn't know at the time I was competing. I didn't even know I was shortlisted for the award or even got nominated for the award. I just got a call 2 weeks later and stated that, Jahmel, I have nominated for your hardworking, ambitious work on campus. You have helped a lot of students gain a lot of opportunities. As I said before, I helped over 2,000 university students in UA by itself. If I'm to come to other students that I helped over the years, like over 4,000 students across Jamaica and youth. So it's like very impactful, and I even assisted sometime with getting the care packages ready. Like the products are already there, but I would help put them together as one of the volunteers there. I'd have done a lot of student activities on campus, and I would have gotten nominated for the award. I was like, I didn't know about the award. I would have heard mentions about it, but I wouldn't know about the award specifically. And I got the award. And the award was the biggest thing that it was the biggest thing I ever got in my entire life, but it was a really great award. And I even outranked their student union. They have a student council that is at U with the Guild. And I've outranked the male section for the award. And to say the least, that I did all of that. I wasn't really looking to outrank anyone. I wasn't looking to go above anything or above the norm that was given in university. I was just there helping, assisting persons. And to see that I got the award, I was like, what? At the time, it was like, I got the award. I was like, this is the most prestigious award, so why not give it to the Guild? Because I'm a big fan of the Guild and their work on campus. I really love what they've been doing. And I was like, why not give it to the male category of the Guild? And I realized that it went to me. I didn't know why it went to me, but I know it was based on my outstanding work and what I was doing in the university and outside of the university. And to see that I was acknowledged for all of that, I was beyond blown. And to see.
But Jahmel, you're involved in youth leadership regionally and internationally. So
yes, and
you're rubbing
locally
right, locally
with the youth parliament as well.
So you're rubbing shoulders with some big people. So how do you feel, boy? You know, a little youth from down Tower Hill rub shoulders with, them kind of people there.
My view was changed. My view was changed for the better. And at first I was like, no, it wasn't changed. But it was changed earlier in the year. Prior to getting the Premier Award, I was published by UNESCO as a published researcher. And I have to go to this big conference. Terry Carroll was there as the host, and it was pretty great. I was like, you're in a big room with big people. You're in a space that is going to move doors for you. I was like, what are you going to do with that space? And I went from there. I went and did other great things, and then I got the award. And I went from that to doing this fellowship and internship at the same time. I was interning for UNDP, meeting other great people. I was also doing a fellowship with this international organization based in the United States called the International Republican Institute, IRI. I was a Caribbean youth fellow. It was a Caribbean youth fellowship, and it was like chosen apart across the Caribbean from other countries such as Trinidad and Tobago, Dominican Republic, and even Jamaica and 2 other Caribbean islands. I was like, Jahmel, you're going places. And that one position by itself opened so many doors. I met the president of the Senate in Jamaica, I met different senators, different legislators, different parliamentarians, politicians, different people in different spheres. I was like, whoa. I even got to invite some of them to read, to listen to and read to our policy paper, because we did at the time we have to do a policy paper as a group. As Jamaica one, have to do a policy paper, and it was on recidivism in Jamaica. And it was a great policy paper nonetheless, and we invited persons from the Department of Correctional Services and other departments and ministries to come and listen to what we had as a group of young people. Even CAPE was there. I was like, we're opening doors, we're meeting people, and I was there a part of all of that conversation. I was like, wow, you're going to that little boy from Tower Hill, that young man from Tower Hill, impacting so many persons' life, even his own life, and changing his view onto society by not being another statistics of crime and violence that continues to plague our country, Jamaica.
Jahmel, what would you say though has been the most important strategy that has led to your success?
I would say group made. I'm group made, not self-made. Yes, I know that 90% of it has been me for a very long time, but I'm not going to count out the persons who have been there for me, regardless. Whether it's 90% me or 80% me or 70% me, I am group made. I am made by the persons, the lecturers, the different teachers, the different mentors. My mentor Sabine Said, who have paved a huge way for me as an individual, and we are at the same age as well. We're in the same age, but in not really the same age, but in the same age category. And at the same time, I was like, wow, you're helping me figuring out my life, and you're figuring out your life at the same time. I was grateful for her for a very long time, even now. And not just her, but my family, different persons who have paved the way for me. I'm group made, not self-made, and I always continue to say that. We always want to say, yes, we do all of this by ourselves, but no one in this society, no one in the world has ever done anything by themselves. Yes, you have done it mostly by yourself, but not completely by yourself. So, yeah, group made.
So true. So now I'm giving you the opportunity now to say thank you to all those who have played a part.
I want to say thank you to Sabine Said. Big up yourself. You have helped me a lot. Big up yourself. I want to say thank you to my mom, my aunt, who is like my mother and father in one as well. My father, my family member, my different persons in my life, my different lectures, my SSSDM over our commuters. Christina, big up yourself, you know I'm talking about you. And different persons who have inspired me along the way, such as my friend, David Salman, Sujay Basu has inspired me because he's a living legend in leadership. Christina Williams, different other persons who have been there. Even Tamoy Campbell, who have inspired me. She's a great youth leader in my view, she's a great youth leader. She's a very strong individual. She has inspired me countless times. And so
she has been on this program as well.
Yes, I realized that. And so many other persons, even Odian Brooks has also inspired me. And so many other persons who have paid and helped me along this journey. I want to say thank you to all of you and big up yourself. Even if you didn't physically be there or virtually be there, but you inspired me or helped me or uplift me in a possible way, I want to say thank you. And big up yourself.
Before you go though, your parents, how do they feel when they see all you have achieved, all you have accomplished?
Proud, very proud. And my father loved to brag and go around the community and say, that's my son, he's doing this, he's doing that. And it's really great to see. But at the same time, I don't like when persons really up in my business like that, but at the same time, I'm really grateful for all of that support, and to my mom and to my aunt. It shifted paradigm because because for me, no one expected me to be here. I'm the person that no one expected to be here. Even though I got the support, later after, I didn't get it in the process. I got it after the end result. I would say no one really expected that I would make it. Like, yes, they saw that I was bright, brilliant, but there's life, there's resources that are not there. There's the struggles. There are the struggles. So, Jahmel, me as a person going to overcome all of those difficulties to be in this situation. Not going to be easy. So I wasn't really expected to be all that I can be, but I'm happy to be here nonetheless.
Before you go though, you're presently pursuing a master's. I need to mention this. You're presently pursuing a master's. And I'm sure persons know in your community, I say, boy, Jahmel, not done with school yet. A time you go get a job and take care of your parents.
Yes, that is everyone's response most of the time. And for me, I don't get discouraged by that. I know what I want out of life, and I'm always going to pursue what I want out of life. Whether it's, I know that I work hard in that moment. I know that I work years through stress and struggles to get here, and I have this vision of my life, and I want to get to a certain aspect of my life, and I'm not going to end with just a degree. No.
And how is that program going?
I'm not going to lie, it's very difficult. It's a bumpy road, but I will figure it out, and I will get that blue canister,
as you usually do,
end, and I will graduate in the end. It's difficult, but I will have to figure it out.
All right, leave a message for young people, no? Persons like...
I would say be inspired and don't get sidetracked by your circumstances or your present obstacles. And that is it.
Boy, you're an example though. You're an inspiration. I just want to tell you, thank you for being here, and I wish you all the best with whatever you strive for, whatever you're going to accomplish. And it was great talking to you.
Thank you for having me.